Hello, everyone. Welcome to Get to Know Age-Friendly Employers. It's so good to see all of you this morning. Thank you all for joining us. As you sign in, please let us know where you are joining us from. Just to let you know, my name is Karen Sousey, and I'm the project manager for 50+ Job Seekers in Massachusetts statewide networking groups. I would like to thank our sponsors of today's event. Excuse me, our sponsors, in addition to Massachusetts Councils on Aging and the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, include AARP Massachusetts and retirementjobs.com. This event takes the hands of many to produce. I would also like to thank our collaborators, Mass Hire Central Career Center and the Age Friendly Institute. And I really want to thank all of you for making today's event possible. This age-friendly series is one where we feature age-friendly employers, people who are eager to hire all of you. And we hope to encourage other employers to be friendly to people age 50 and older, and to help employers know that being designated as age-friendly helps them to find great employees. Our goals today are to highlight the standards of being age-friendly, connect employers with job seekers, introduce job seekers to the initiatives of AARP's Employer Pledge and CAFE, the Certified Age-Friendly Employer Program, and how they can help you in your job hunt. We are also looking for broader adoption of age-friendly status among employers. And we want to help job seekers have hope, direction, confidence, and be able to offset ageism. We are recording this session, so you may refer to it after the event. In about a week or so, we will email it to you along with slides and contact information for all our speakers. A little housekeeping. Please make sure your first and last names are visible. 50+ Job Seekers is funded by the Executive Office of Elder Affairs through Massachusetts Councils on Aging, and we record attendance for continued grant funding. Please use the chat for any comments, suggestions, and questions you may have during the program. We will have a Q&A session at the end, but you don't have to wait until the end to list them. Please write question in capital letters before your question so we can easily find it during the Q&A section. So let me tell you about today's agenda. I'm very excited to have Paul Sakala as our moderator, and I will introduce him in just a minute. After we meet Paul, we will get the outline of the AARP Employer Pledge and CAFE program to learn what makes an age-friendly business. We will then meet the panelists. Today's agencies, employers being featured are Dovetail Companies, the Home Depot, Eversource, and Mature Caregivers. After that, we will have general questions for the panelists. And finally, your questions will be answered. So let's get started. I want to introduce our moderator for today's event, Paul Sakala. Paul is a certified global career development facilitator, work search author, and founder of Sakala Career Consultants. Since 1999, he has assisted over 3,000 job seekers, ranging from C-suite executives to college students with backgrounds in expertise ranging from DEI, healthcare, business leadership, project management, technology, pharma, biotech, and aviation. And now I would like to welcome Paul Sakala.
Good morning, and thank you for that introduction, Karen. I've spoken here at this group a couple of different times, and I always love coming back to Massachusetts to speak with you all. So I'm glad to be back here for this event today. Let's just dive right into things, and let's get to our first speaker, and that's going to be Cara. Yeah, I'm sorry. Where am I? I'm getting lost in my notes. How's that terrible is that? Cara Cara Cohen from the AARP. So Cara, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Paul. I'm ready. Hi, everybody. No worries. Yes, so Cara Cohen, I work in the AARP Massachusetts office. And I know since we have people from all over the country, you should know that there's somebody like me doing outreach in every state at the AARP office in your state. We were happy to promote this to AARP members, so I hope that there's many of you in the audience today. Thank you to Karen Sousey and to the Massachusetts Job Networking Group, and also for the Mass Councils on Aging for supporting this. I'm the manager for outreach and volunteer engagement at AARP Massachusetts, and this is part of our work that we do as the largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to Americans 50 plus and older, to helping you choose how you live as you age. We work to strengthen communities and fight for what matters most for families. We have a focus on health security, financial stability, and personal fulfillment. And on the advocacy front, some of our key areas of focus is on lowering the cost of prescription drugs, advocating for nursing home and long-term care reform, and for financial support for caregivers, as well as supporting older job seekers. And that's a critical component of our financial stability work, to ensure that people as they age can continue working as long as they want to. And so we engage employers on the value of a multi-generational workforce and demonstrate the impact of age diversity on the bottom line. And our core initiative in this regard is the AARP Employer Pledge Program that you see up there on the slide. These employers from around the country stand with AARP, affirming the value of experienced workers, and are committed to developing diverse organizations. And since we started this in 2012, the pledge program has grown now to over 2,000 members. We've seen some exponential growth in the last few years. That's representing 4.8 million employees. So we work with employers to help their organizations move beyond limited stereotypes about older workers towards an age-friendly workplace, a more age-inclusive workforce. And these employers have been vetted by AARP. They have a good rating with the Better Business Bureau. And over the last 3 years, they have not had any class action discrimination suits successfully brought against them. They receive regular communications from AARP. They're encouraged to network with the other employer pledge signers, and they are offered webinars that encourage them to support older workers. And we encourage them to take action steps. Next slide, please, Kendra. On this slide, you can see a screenshot of the listing of all the companies. Like I said, over 2,000 companies have signed the employer pledge list. So go online and see what companies are in the geographic area that you're interested in by company, by industry. So very handy for you to check out. Next slide, please. We have a lot of resources at aarp.org/jobs, and one of them is the AARP job board. So one more thing to bookmark and check out. Next slide, please. We offer tools and resources to help you with your job search. For example, there is the AARP Skill Builder for Work that helps you gain in-demand skills to be competitive in today's job market. And you'll also find the Resume Advisor, which offers you a free resume review. Again, encouraging you to go online for all these resources. Next slide. We have webinars that are offered, and as is often the case, they're offered on demand. So if you missed it, you can still catch the recordings. And you see there's quite a healthy listing here and pretty up to date with the inclusion of focus on AI and how to leverage that and other technology in your job search. So lots to check out. And I need to make sure you understand that if you're an AARP member or not, you have access to this. So please check out the resources that we make available as part of our social mission work. Next slide. All right, so this is everything in one place. I think you're going to be getting these slides afterwards, or you can take a screenshot now so that you can remember what to follow up on for yourself. That is it from me here where I sit. I think I go over to Tim now, or back over to you, Paul.
Yep. Thanks, Karen, or Kara, sorry.
You're
And,
welcome.
just to confirm with you, anybody from outside of Massachusetts can reach out to you and you'd be able to get them connected to their local AARP. Yes.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, great. So thank you for that. Tim, tell us more about the Age Friendly Institute and Cafe.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, all of you, for being here. It's great to see the good turnout. So I'm going to give you some background on the Certified Age-Friendly Employer Program. So let's jump right in. I'm with the Age-Friendly Institute. So CAFE, as we call it for short, has been around since 2006, and we created it for three purposes. One is for employers to learn and identify themselves as having policies and cultures welcoming to older adults. So the employers that go through this, and you'll see some listed, you'll see how to access them, they get certified by meeting a set of standards that I'm going to describe to you as well. It was also created to help employees and job seekers over the age of 50 save time and perhaps save some agony too by finding employers that value their expertise and experience, and also help job seekers over 50 navigate around age discrimination, which unfortunately is widely perceived to be a major problem, and isn't just perceived to be one, it is a big problem that we're seeking to help eradicate. Not just employers and employees, but also policymakers have a big stake in this. And the reason that they do is because keeping people engaged keeps them healthy, both physically and mentally, keeps them economically secure. And when older people are staying in the workforce longer, it also helps the economy to grow. So there's a real win-win-win here. Next slide, please, Kendra. This is a partial list you'll see here of employers around the world that have been certified as age-friendly. I'm going to give you some background on where they are and also in what industries they are. So if we can jump to the next slide. The CAFE program has been expanding very rapidly over 5 continents now, and we've just actually this week added a couple of more countries to this map, so it'll be updated even further. But it's not just a US issue. This program used to be mainly focused in the US until about 4 years ago, and now we have local representation in many countries around the world. We've just announced Uruguay as of last week. So this is a program that is embracing and addressing this question of age discrimination in the workplace on a worldwide basis. I'm now going to tell you a little bit about what industries are represented and how you might think about why employers go after the program. If you go to the next slide, Kendra. In our work in certifying these age-friendly employers, they have to meet a set of standards that we created. The whole program is rooted in HR, compensation, and benefits, and we also collect a lot of information from the employers when they go through it. And the percentage of people over the age of 50 is important to take note of, because it gives you sort of the math on which employers have really embraced this the most. And you can see sort of a ranking by percentage there of employers that have got their own staffs populated by people over the age of 50. And why do they do this? Well, we're going to jump forward and give you a few testimonial slides from a few different major employers that are part of the program and are also embracing the learning. So this is Publicis Group. They're the world's largest advertising agency. And advertising and the creative industries in general, we're actually one of the laggards, but they have now really joined in a very aggressive and vocal way our program. But their point here is they want to mirror the market. And if you understand that point, it's really about what drove diversity hiring in the first place. Decades ago, when diversity started, it was about including races and ethnicities and genders and LGBTQ and other types of diversity, and age is now increasingly being included in employers' definition of diversity. So that's Publicis Group. That's Geraldine White, who's the head of diversity for that organization, and a major force on this topic. Next slide, please. And this is a testimonial from another well-known brand called Starbucks. Their problem is not finding people, but it's keeping people. And the thing to emphasize here is if you are an older job seeker, by definition, you are part of that statistic of people who stay on the job 3 times longer. And Starbucks embraces this point, and so do many other employers that are part of the cafe program because they're solving for tenure. So by definition, you are, attractive. And for no other reason, you stay on the job longer and you're more committed, therefore. You also, by the way, are closer in age to a lot of the people that these organizations serve. Let's jump to the next testimonial. Here's an example of that. So Humana serves older populations, and they want people on their staff who also are part of that quote unquote older population. Now, they're driven by diversity as well, and they're driven by, as you can see in bold at the bottom, they say without older people in our workforce, a big part of our culture would be missing. Let's jump to the next slide. As I mentioned, this program's been endorsed from lots of different places, including academia. So the Harvard Business Review just wrote this spring that employers that go through this program and meet the criteria of being age-friendly, it confers advantages in the marketplace. It helps them address things like labor shortages. The Harvard Project on Workforce also endorsed the program and encourages employers to get the age-friendly audit and receive certification. Let's jump to the next slide. Here's another reason why employers do this. They know that when an employer is designated as age-friendly, that people are more likely to stay and people are more likely to choose that employer. So the age-friendly seal encourages more people to apply, and that's another reason why employers go through this. Next slide. The program's been covered in the press in lots of different ways, the HR press, the consumer press, the business press. In general, there was just fantastic coverage a couple weeks ago on NBC News, another big piece coming out nationally on CBS News, so watch for that, and part of their Eye on America series. So we're very gratified by that coverage, and we know that this is, along with the AARP program, addressing a major problem in society. Let's jump forward. So how do you find these employers and how do you find the jobs associated with them? Well, you can go to the agefriendly.com site and the jobs tab in particular, and you can get access to that list. And let's jump to the next slide, and you can see that there's also these jobs available on retirementjobs.com. There's hundreds of thousands of jobs across the country. There's free webinars on a bi-weekly basis and access to career services and reviews and advice. So reviews of employers as to whether or not they're age-friendly. That's one of the things that we study. Our certification team looks at not just what do the employers say about themselves, but what do employees say about those employers? And what, by the way, we look at and examine all of their legal claims and their past histories as well. Let's jump to the next slide, which is the final slide. And just want to emphasize that there's webinars available on lots of different topics oriented to older job seekers, as well as career services, things like resume critiques and resume preparations and cover letters and so forth. So I'll pause there and hand it back to Paul.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim. That's great. And I don't know that I was aware of so many of the different services that are available, both through AARP and through the Age Friendly Institute. So I'm sure, like many of you, I'm excited to get these slides and add these resources to the places that I go to look for work and to assist my clients with work search. So as you can see from these two employers, there's a trend that we're kind of looking at in today's event, and that is, what are the companies that are looking for older employers like us, and where are the skills shortages that we can fill those gaps easily with? So I do want to just take a moment to thank Encore Boston Network for starting this event, and Age Friendly Employer Forum. This is their 9th session for that, or 9th year of that. The past 4 years have been with other organizations involved, and it's been hosted by the 50+ job seekers in Massachusetts for the past 4 years. That's what I meant to say. So we've got a lot of resources available to us here, and we need to make sure we're taking advantage of them as much as possible. What we're going to do now is showcase these 4 employers who are considered age friendly. And how does the organization determine, how does 50+ job seekers and Encore Boston determine who to showcase? And they have to meet 2 criteria minimally. One of them is that they need to have signed the AARP employer pledge, and the other is that they need to be certified age friendly through the Age Friendly Institute. So you know that these employers have been vetted as people who are seriously interested in working with and looking to hire elder or older employees. So we've got 4 people who are going to join us for this conversation. Aaron DiCarlo from Dovetail Companies, Rachel Groenwald from Home Depot, Aaron Travassos from Eversource Energy, and Gail Thiem from Mature Caregivers. So glad to have the 4 of you joining the conversation now. And what I'd like to do first is ask all of you who are here attending, tell us in the chat, what are some of the barriers that you're experiencing in your job search as an older employee? And we'll see if we can't try and address some of that as a part of our conversation, but it'd be curious just to hear from you all, what are some of the things that you're experiencing? As a reminder, if you have questions for our panelists, please write the word question in the chat and then follow that with your question. We won't be taking questions by voice. We'll only be taking them in the chat. So please make sure you start typing your questions into the chat as you have them. And with that, I'm going to start by asking each of our panelists to introduce themselves. And then we've got one question that I'd like to ask each one of them before we go into more questions from the audience. So I'm going to go just by order that you're on my screen. And that means Aaron DiCarlo, tag, you're first.
Thanks so much, Paul. Thank you to AARP and the Age Friendly Institute for having us here today around this really important topic. My mission has always been to change the way we view and support aging in America. And so by taking these small steps together, we're chipping away at that mission. I'm the founder and co-owner of Dovetail Companies. We provide one point of contact for any service an older adult or their family may need when facing a major life transition. So we provide geriatric care management, senior and specialty move management, and senior real estate services to help minimize the logistics and overwhelm and allow families to focus on the emotional aspects of the major transition they're in the middle of. Oh, Paul, you're muted.
Sorry, I'm trying to do as we were asked, and I keep forgetting. Rachel, would you tell us about your work?
Sure, thank you. I'm very excited to be here. I have been waving the company flag for the Home Depot for the last 21 years, and it truly brings me a lot of joy to connect people to their next careers. So absolutely love talking to a crowd of a lot of diversity, not just age-friendly groups, but workers of all walks of life. So truly enjoy it. Very glad to be here and anxious to get to your questions and tell you more about our wonderful company.
Great, thank you, Rachel. Aaron Travassos.
Thanks, Paul. I want to echo Aaron and Rachel's thoughts around just really excited to be here with this group today and sharing both thoughts about Eversource as well as kind of the general market. So my name is Erin Travasos. I'm the Director of Talent Acquisition for Eversource Energy. I'm based out of our Boston location, but we serve Boston, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New Hampshire. So we have about 10,000 employees, and we're definitely a multi-generational workforce, and definitely support and love our older workforce, and definitely rely on them to mentor others within the organization. So looking forward to share more.
Thank you very much. And Gail.
Thank you, Paul. Delighted to be here today. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Gail Theme. I am the Senior Director of Client Care with Mature Caregivers. At Mature Caregivers, we provide in-home care and support, both personal care and companionship to individuals that are in need. We employ many people, age 50 and above, and they have a very diverse background, experience, and interests, and we follow a thoughtful process to match our caregivers and companions with their clients, and to help older adults find meaningful and purposeful work opportunities. So thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you, Gail. So let me start with Erin DiCarlo with this first question. And Erin, can you tell us, why does your company value and seek older workers?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, organically, as a small local business, our staff, we started to notice, is majority, over 75% of our staff is not only over 50, but majority is over 60. And we realized how did this come to be? The skill set of older adults is something that cannot be trained. As you can imagine, in the services that we provide, we're being brought into people's lives at a really heightened emotional stage where major life decisions are being made. And you can't really teach the lessons that life teaches us, and the ability to bring your experiences to the table with your clients. So things like the ability to establish trust and rapport, empathy, kindness, and approach. These are personality traits, but they're also traits that we learn over different life experiences. Because we service an older adult population, also being closer in age to our clients allows there to be this relatability that really can't be taught. You know, it's really the first time in human history, the last few generations, that we've separated younger people from older adults. And so we have younger people that have had no life experience caring for an aging grandparent or loved one in the home. And so we have found that our staff is more likely to have had older adult experiences in their life, maybe as an adult daughter caregiver or an adult son advocate. And so many of our staff has come to us not through their professional experience of working with older adults, but just through their own personal experiences of supporting an older adult. And so just the natural skill set of relationship building, communication style, all of those things come together to bring a really well-qualified employee that doesn't, you can teach people the nuts and bolts of a database and a process and a system, but you can't teach those really lifelong learned lessons that our staff has so beautifully done.
Great. Thank you. And Gail, kind of continuing with that, because you're both kind of in similar industries, how has your company taken special steps to attract older workers? You're muted.
You'd think we'd get that by now. Sorry about that. So as I said earlier, many of our employees at Mature Caregivers are 50 plus. So that means our clients are oftentimes being cared for by someone who is closer to their age with similar life experiences. Mature Caregivers is a certified age-friendly employer, which you heard Tim Driver speak about earlier. We're very proud of this certification. We know that because we appeal to people over 50, we have more qualified candidates that are applying to our jobs. We value employee knowledge, maturity, reliability, productivity. These are all key traits when we're matching caregivers with our clients. And they need and want support from professional, reliable, responsible people. Holding that certification reinforces our company's commitment to the 50+ population, and use of the CAFE seal with our marketing and job postings helps us to stand out and to encourage 50+ job seekers to apply. Mature Caregivers is also the sister business of retirementjobs.com, which is a leading career site for people age 50+. And we are continuously recruiting through retirementjobs.com for our caregiver and companion roles.
And I want to just remind everyone that we will get this recording and all the slides in a week or so. So you'll have access to these different resources. That's why we're not necessarily putting them in the chat for you, but you'll see those later on when you get the recording. And those are great resources for us to have. Thank you, Gail. Rachel, can you tell us a little bit about what Home Depot is doing to let candidates know that you really are seeking older workers and that you're a workplace that enjoys having older workers?
Yes. So at Home Depot, you're not going to see or hear paid advertising for our job openings. That is because we know two things are tried and true. Our grassroots efforts are amazing. They're the most fruitful. We are targeting certain candidates. We want candidates who want to work to apply for us. We want the right candidates. So it's our personal relationships that we build in the community that really drive new applicants to us. So there are people like me who help span the nation, and literally we are searching every day for new friends of the company, new partners, new partnerships that will help connect those those job seekers to gainful employment with the Home Depot. So there's a whole team of us doing exactly what I'm doing today, and out there looking for new recruits. And then also we rely heavily on our brand. We continue to build it. We continue to promote it. Our associates are instilled with 8 core values that specifically are very important to most workers over 55. They are values that we've had with this company for 42 years now, what we're founded on. So you will see Home Depot out in the communities, supporting our veterans, building new homes, making modifications to homes, as well as being involved in the schools, all things that not only is it just great, a good feeling to do and to accomplish, but helps to really tell people that, Home Depot is the place for me. That's where I want to go. So when we promote those two things very well, we get great staff at the Home Depot. And it's evident if you've been in our stores, you see we're very diverse. You see associates of all ages out on the floor, very friendly. We kind of take a cue from Chick-fil-A. It doesn't matter what Home Depot you go to. Maybe it's not our pleasure, but we are very friendly in every store and very helpful.
Great, thank you. And then Erin Travasos, what are some of the trends that you're currently seeing in today's hiring market?
Sure. Gosh, it is an interesting market because you're seeing a mixture. Unemployment, at least in the New England region, still continues to be very low. You're seeing a mixture of layoffs within some organizations, as well as continuing hiring in other organizations, industries. In April, Department of Labor reported out that jobs had doubled in April, which is really great for the market if you're looking for a job. One of the things I think Eversource, along with other companies, is definitely seeing is an uptick in the applicant pool. So that makes it a more competitive environment for all of you when you're applying for jobs. And I do see some questions around that. Couple of the things that I think it's really important to do as you're applying for jobs on companies' websites is when you're looking at that description, take a few minutes to make sure that your resume is reflective of what you're applying for and some of the key things that organization might be looking for in that particular job. And if you're going to submit a cover letter, kind of tailor that as well. I think it's worth that little bit of time that you might spend doing that. With an increased applicant pool, it does take longer to get through those candidates as well. For tips and kind of tools, is make sure that you are setting up, and you can set up kind of searches in on job sites like Indeed or Glassdoor, because there might be jobs out there with companies that you're not thinking about. So some of the upticks in jobs, companies, industries hiring, definitely leisure and hospitality. Retail continues to have a lot of jobs. Transportation and warehouse, manufacturing, all have strong hiring track records, and they continue to hire and see jobs across the New England area or East Coast. So definitely, there are jobs out there. There are a lot of applicants. One of the other things that we are seeing is, because the market has been a little more volatile in the last year, we're seeing less people leaving the.
It looks like Aaron is stalled on us there for a second.
Paul, can this Erin chime in really quick too?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, because we are a smaller employer, so our situation's a little bit different, but my co-business owner, Lauren Watts, and I talk very often about what is your why? What is your passion? What's the thing that puts fire in your belly? And starting there, like what industry or what thing is your thing? And then seeing where there's aligned opportunities. Every single one of our employees is here with us because they want to do meaningful work that makes a positive impact in people's lives, and we pay well for that work. And we call it the second paycheck. We put our heads on our pillows at night feeling really good about the work that we do. And so I encourage all of you to do a little inner deep dive and say, what's the thing that really motivates me and lights me up? And then start your search in that space, because there's jobs in every industry you can think of, including music and art and all of the other things.
I love that chime in. So thank you for that, Aaron. I want to just double check. I see Aaron Travaso's face back on screen, but it looks like you're frozen still. So, yep. So let me go. I'm going to go a little bit off script for our panelists here for a second, because you've all been talking around our final question that we wanted to ask all of you. I'm going to ask it in a slightly different way, though, and I hope I'm not putting you all on the spot. But especially for the three of you that remain here, I suspect for a lot of the people on the call, if they're like me, they're probably saying, "Yeah, you want to hire, home caregivers or cashiers or people that maybe need a certification, but it's still an entry level or a low level position, low pay position. I can't afford that," right? So can you give us a sense, and we'll go around the room of, what are the kinds of roles that you're actually hiring for, and what's some of the typical pay scales for those roles to show us that, yeah, really you need our experience, our skill base, and are willing to pay for that. So I'll start with the bottom of my screen for this one with Gail.
And I remembered to unmute. It's a good question, a really good question. We're a unique industry, being in human services, particularly providing support and care to a majority of elderly clients. So hence, like our name implies, mature caregivers, we really are drawing from the rich experience that a lot of these people have. Many of our people that come to work for us have served as a caregiver, raising children as caregivers, an elderly parent or loved one. So while it may not be their, chosen profession or line of work, maybe it has, maybe they've worked in healthcare, they bring that life experience, and they do it because it meant a lot to them to serve in that role, helping children, helping family members with whatever needs there were. So, we're a little unique because we're a private pay home care company, and we oftentimes are really doing very customized recruitment efforts, trying to find just the right fit. And personality can be a big part of it, work history, shared interests. So I sort of feel like a glorified matchmaker, if you will, in my role. And it honestly is the best part of my job, is to see those relationships form and friendships develop.
But Gail, I really do want to get a little more specifics, right? So can you give us, say, 3 of the most common job titles that you're hiring for, and what would the pay scale for those be? And then also, do you have those more highly educated, high skilled roles that are expected to have a bachelor's, master's degree, and what would some of those roles be?
Sure. So thank you for clarifying. So caregiver is a common job title, companion, and then we sometimes have specialty needs where individuals are helping in a very specific way with a specific need, like downsizing their home and doing a thorough clean out of the home and helping to sort materials, etc. So the pay scale can really range. I would say in the neighborhood of $20 and up to $30 an hour, potentially more if somebody is more on the personal care side and needs, somebody who's an LPN or an RN for more medical care. So it's really a wide range. And I hope that answers or better answers your question.
And do you also have more of those highly skilled, highly educated roles, and how often for things like accountants or tech people or those kinds of roles?
I would say occasionally. I think when people with those specific backgrounds come to us, what might be bringing them to us because of the nature of the work that we do is more the personal experience that they've had in their life.
Okay. Great. Aaron Travassos, I want to come back to you in just a second to finish your answer from before, but let's just continue with Aaron DiCarlo on this question, and then we'll come back.
Yeah, so for our industry, our company specifically, we have a variety of roles. Our director of move management, highly skilled, retired from the financial services world, helped build out our move management services. So there's definitely opportunity there. From some of our other roles, it's hourly, per diem, part-time. The range is anywhere starting at 34, 35, up from there hourly. But our industry, so if you have highly skilled folks on this call, the senior living industry, 6 figures,
Right.
not only well compensated, but a lot of experience is what they're looking for to run and manage. If you have any interest in the senior living industry, Lauren Watts, my business partner, and myself, happy to connect with you and connect you with the players in that space. I think that's a whole nother program opportunity because they are looking for different industry experience and they pay very well. And there's a huge hiring opportunity within the local senior living industry.
Great. Thank you. Rachel, you want to take this one on, and then I'll come back to Aaron. And Aaron, I'll tell you what that question was.
Sure. So I cover all of the states in the New England region. So I'm going to give you a range that's kind of broad, but specifically, how about Massachusetts? So, for example, at our store level, some of the more common entry level jobs do include cashier, sales associate, freight associate. Those jobs are going to pay between $17, $21 an hour in the Massachusetts area. And then more jobs at the store level that are not so much entry level, but maybe entry level leadership, like we have department supervisor positions and also asset protection specialist positions. Those are going to begin in the $21 to $24 an hour range. But also at the store level, we do have salaried roles. So there are 3 different salaried manager positions, and they're going to range from 55 plus. I mean, store managers are going to make those six figures. So those are up there in range. But of course, in a Fortune 20 company, we have lots and lots of IT roles, talent acquisition, HR, marketing. So those roles, I'm not even equipped to give you a range. They are certainly, can be upwards of from 80,000 well beyond 200,000 a year.
Great, thank you. So Erin, first let's touch on again those trends that you are seeing in today's market, and just quickly do that. And then what I'd asked the others while you were away was, what are some of the specific titles that you're seeing that you're hiring for, and the required experience and pay rates for those titles?
Yeah, great. And I apologize because I don't know where I froze up on that, the last bit. So I would kind of regroup and say we are seeing an uptick in jobs out there in the marketplace. So that's great news for everyone. It is competitive as employers. I think most employers are seeing more candidates. The applicant flow is much higher. So really take a few minutes to target your resume to whatever you're applying to. And then the other thing that I would, again, highly recommend, if there's a company that you're interested in, I know for our website, you can set up a job alert for different types of jobs. So it will automatically feed to you when we post those jobs. We do push our jobs out to many, many websites because we value the diversity that different individuals outside of our industry brings to our organization. So we, again, have 10,000 employees across the 3 states, a large utility energy company. So we hire a lot of different types of backgrounds. We do post our salary ranges in our jobs. So if you were to go on our website, you can look at that. That's an important factor for people deciding on opportunity. So we want to put that out there. So we
Erin,
hire a lot of technical roles, engineering, kind of craft or really highly skilled technician type of roles, but we also hire a lot of call center roles, bilingual. We hire a lot of folks in our corporate areas like accounting and finance and HR. So lots of varied backgrounds, and the experience can range, right? It might be minimal experience to, we're looking for significant experience depending upon the role. But the roles really that we post on our website are we really try to give you a good idea of what that role will look like and also what the area represents. So if it's accounting and finance, what's it like to be an employee in that area?
Great. And I'm going to ask this of you, Erin, because again, it's been a conversation in several groups I've been on recently. Are you giving realistic ranges? Because I know there have been a lot of people who have been giving ridiculous ranges when the law requires them to. So are your ranges real?
Our ranges are real, yes. Yes.
Thanks. We've been getting a lot of questions from a lot of folks, and I don't think we're going to have time to get to all of them. So I apologize, everybody, for that. But I see one right here. What industries and job levels are you seeing hiring occurring for in New England?
So, Paul, can I take that? Because I had mentioned that in a little of the research that I had done, but I don't know if I had frozen up.
Yeah, go ahead.
So some of the areas with an uptick in jobs in New England, definitely leisure and hospitality. Retail continues to have a lot of jobs open. Rachel mentioned that, right? In transportation, warehousing, manufacturing, definitely high levels of jobs where they can't fill the openings.
Great, thank you. And another question, I believe that the unemployment rate is misleading because there is a large percentage of underemployed. What are your
That's
thoughts
true.
on this, especially for those 50 plus, not looking to take large pay cuts simply because we're older? Any thoughts, anyone?
I
Go
think
ahead,
it should be the opposite. Never mind pay cuts. You definitely should be compensated well for your expertise. Like, set your boundary. What is your worth? What are you willing to be compensated? And get really niche and strategic on what companies, you're interviewing them as much as they are you. Are they worthy of you and your talents? Do you feel fully aligned with their mission and their core values and just fully standing in that? And it'll amaze you how much things will shift when you get really clear for yourself and then what you start to attract from that point.
And I don't want to take a lot of time here myself talking, but on that specific question, I did a podcast, just recorded it on Monday, where we talked about that specific issue. And one of the things that the two career coaches and I that were on this podcast are seeing is that the oftentimes the Department of Labor statistics report this huge number of jobs available with this low number of employees looking for work. And, many of us on this call are saying, well, wait a minute, there's a lot of us who are highly skilled, highly educated looking for work. And that's because of the disconnect between the jobs that are available versus the skill level and the expectations and requirement of the candidates. And so it's harder right now. In fact, I spoke to somebody else before this call this morning who has said that they've seen the opportunities drying up for the highly educated, highly skilled employee right now. And that doesn't surprise me too much, partly because we're going into the summer months. So there is a decrease in employment during the summer months as well. Another question, where did it go? And by the way, there are a couple of questions that have been asked for Tim and Kara. I see Tim has answered that directly, and I appreciate that, Tim. If we have time at the end, we can come back and have you answer it publicly. So what industries and jobs are seeing, oh, wait, got that one already. What changes? When I change industries, what should I focus on to show that my skills translate to the new industry? That's a great question. Go ahead, Erin.
First is the position. So it should be, I would think, and full disclosure, I'm not in HR. I happen to be a business owner that kind of obviously leads with my heart and just wants to get to know you. Who are you at the core? Because behavioral interviewing tells us that you can say all you want to say, but your past actions are the best prediction of future behavior. So first, just get really clear. Like, don't force a square, I'm going to say this wrong, square peg in a round hole or whatever. Do the traits that they're looking for, and is it a good match for you? You shouldn't have to force. And if you just simply answer that question, like, no, not really, I kind of feel like I'm forcing this one, that desperation will come across in that interview, and it may not be it's not a good use of your time. Every minute you spend on the wrong job search for you, you're not allowing energetically the right opportunity to come into your lap, not to oversimplify it. But I would just do your I am statement and just keep writing, I am. And what are all the things that you know to be true about yourself, right? And write down all of those skill sets, all of those traits, and say that statement to yourself every day and get really clear on who are you. And then when you look at your search and what traits they're looking for in someone, if it's not the majority of who you are, just move on to the next. And it'll help you walk into the right interview with all the confidence in the world that what they're looking for is what you possess. And so that's my only advice on that. Sorry, I'm not in HR, but
No, that's all right, Erin. Rachel, Gail, or Erin, either of you want to take this on? Go ahead, Rachel. I see you unmuted.
Yes. So I would say a lot of what has already been said, but companies that are forward thinking, that are looking to grow, that are constantly thinking about their growth and expanding, they're looking for cross-functional candidates, and they're bigger roles. So I would not go into an interview or even anticipate, well, what if it doesn't? What if I'm not a match? What if when I'm transitioning roles, what if it doesn't? most of the time, like Home Depot, we're looking for skills that are not necessarily taught. We'll know that you have the right education, you have the right background, but we're looking for people who can fit into a new team, who can mesh well with others, even in the world, in the virtual world, even beyond the store level. We're still looking for team players, and that's very simplistic, but that is what makes companies great. We have to find those people who have the right values that align, that mirror with what Home Depot is looking for. So it's not always about the work experience alone.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. I would also just add, oftentimes it's a matter of how are you speaking about the job, right? Or your experience. And I'll give you a quick example. I transitioned from corporate aviation sales into career services. Now this was, a few years back, but what I did was look at at its core, what is the career services role that I was applying to really all about? And when I broke it down to its most fundamental, that role was about selling these recent graduates on taking jobs that they didn't really want and selling employers on hiring these recent grads that think they know everything and really know nothing. I came from a sales background. I think I'm a pretty damn good salesman. And so I spoke to this new employer about how I'm going from one sales role to another sales role and showed how that experience fit. And they were like, oh my God, you're right. You need to do this job. And that's how I made the transition. So be really careful about how you are looking at the role you're applying for and how your skills can fit that role. And then you're going to have to connect the dots to show the employer how your past experience is directly related to this new role. Does that spur any other thoughts for any of you? Great. So the next question. I can understand why you would be interested in hiring many of us. We have 30+ years of corporate experience earning six figures. Why would we want to make such a dramatic pivot to a more entry-level role? Tough question. Anybody have any thoughts on how to respond to that? Go ahead, Erin.
You don't pivot. You stand right in your truth and you don't downgrade and pivot into a role that doesn't utilize all your talents and compensate you well for those talents.
And I love you saying that, Erin, because it mimics what a great recruiter here in New Jersey says all the time to candidates as well. Her name is Janelle Rosino, by the way, and Erin, you probably want to connect with her. But she says the exact same thing. You should never take a pay cut. You should always be able to increase your pay when you make a job change. Otherwise, you're not making the right change. So I'm glad you say that. Thanks. Go ahead, Erin Travasos.
Yeah, I love kind of the advice that Erin has given around kind of making that list of what you want to be doing and what you're really good at. I would recommend role playing with others if you're really interested in a role and kind of getting your pitch down for when you're going to talk about your experience. I think that's always helpful. I see a lot of our employees here that are retirees, leaving our organization. A lot of them go into some kind of consulting or really kind of looking at industries that support our industry, and then go into that type of work. And they're able to sometimes scale back their hours, but they're still making good money. So they're not looking to take that pay cut. They're looking to stay, gainfully employed, and in roles that they're still very happy in. If you are underemployed, I think that question came up. Obviously we all have to work, right? I have to work. So if my role is eliminated, I would take a job somewhere to work and make an income. But it's a good time to continue to apply for jobs, look at other opportunities. If you're underemployed, you own that destiny of finding the right, hopefully that right next opportunity that you love and you're again gainfully employed, right? using your skill sets.
Great, thank you. So I think this is for Aaron DiCarlo. Um, you know, when we're talking about that disconnect in the unemployment rates and all, right? How big of a piece of that has to do with highly skilled candidates feeling dumbed down in a job? Which I'm not totally sure what they mean, but
I think it's ageism. I
Yeah.
think it's the only acceptable prejudice in our country that's just accepted. I had my father's 70th birthday on Sunday, and everybody was laughing at all these cards he was opening about, like, over the hill and blah, blah, blah. And I stood up. I was a Debbie Downer, and I'm a fun person, but I was like, this is ageism. Like, it's just an accepted norm that everyone thinks that your trajectory is like, go to bed, put the shovel in the ground. And it's just not truth. People are thriving over 70 and working and living their best lives. And so don't accept it. And here's what I'm going to say, call it out. If you ever feel dumbed down in an interview, or you feel like you're being treated differently because of your age, call it out. And I always say, I forgive you for you do not know, but after this statement I'm about to make, you can't do it anymore. So this is, you're making me feel not adequate, which is unacceptable. And I'm going to assume that you don't know that it may be due to my age, but back to that I am statement, and I am blah, blah, blah. And if you'd like to have a conversation, let's have it. And if not, this company is not the right fit for me. If you are ever feeling dumbed down for your value, say something and leave, because that's not a company you want to work for. And I think we all have, including my small children, we all have the opportunity to change ageism by addressing it when we see it and feel it. And I empower you to do so.
I'd love to hear some thoughts on that from the other three as well, if either of you want to chime in.
How do we top that, Paul? Aaron, I wanted to do this while you were talking. I completely echo everything that you said. These people have so much to bring in so many different ways to whatever their next endeavor is going to be. So nothing new to add, just want to echo everything Aaron said.
So let me take that question maybe to a next level, right? How do we research or find out that you're an organization that's going to empower and that's going to appreciate and want and compensate us for all of that experience, so that we're not wasting your time or our time in applying for jobs that are inappropriate?
Do research on the organizations, look at what their employees are saying, look at, kind of ratings and reviews, and talk to if you know people that work for that organization, get to know them. Be prepared to ask questions in the interview process as well. It's asking questions about the culture, things like that. But if you find that, to Aaron's point, people aren't treating you well in the interview process, that speaks volumes for what you might be getting into. The other thing that I just wanted to clarify, the unemployment rates really report on who's filing for unemployment. So it doesn't really reflect the underemployed, unfortunately.
And
Yes.
Tim, is there a place where people can find, this is a stupid question, I apologize, like the list of the companies that are already certified age friendly? Start there and say in the interview, like, they can't be ageist with you if you're saying, like, I'm so happy to be here, glad to see your cafe certified. Tell me how you treat your older employees or your policies around that. Like, they're making you feel inadequate after you start your conversation in the interview with that, we have a problem. Tim, is there an easy way to access those companies?
There is. So if you go to the Age Friendly Institute website, go to the cafe program, you'll see the list. It's there. And that's the place to start. I mean, these are the organizations that have essentially, well, they're literally joining this event, some of them. And then others are joining other events, and they're leaning into this. And they are what I call the vocal minority. Ageism is real, but those employers that are sort of doing the right thing because they've sort of seen reasons to do so, are joining programs like Cafe and committing to the learning around Cafe. They're coming to the workshops and learning about how they can get better at this. They're getting, and in order to get recertified, they have to get better. We're demanding that from them. We're also training them. They're getting educated and socializing this throughout their organizations. So I call them the vocal minority. They're the ones that are, part of this change. And unfortunately, those that are not are sort of resulting in longer job seeking cycles for people. So I would say, go where you're wanted. Start with that. I mean, these are organizations. Doesn't mean they're going to hire every person. That's not what they're saying, but they are committed to this. And I can tell you, because we speak to hundreds of these employers, they really want to do this, and they know it's not going to change overnight, but they are listening to the kinds of points that Erin is making because they understand it. They see it. This is all around us. This is kind of like the elephant in the room. And so, does it change overnight? I wish it would, but it is changing faster than it's ever changed. In fact, we're releasing a piece next week that's going to be on NPR, and it shows the decline in the perception of age bias in the workplace over the last 20 years. So we actually measure this and have done so and will continue to do so. The good news is it's going in the right direction. It's going down. The bad news is it's still terrible. So, there's still a lot of work to do, but I would say, yeah, go to that list, start with them and others like them. I mean, I'm sort of giving you sort of reasons why organizations go after this. And it's for business reasons. I mean, diversity is a business case. And so, this is why I'm hoping you'll take away some of the reasons why they see you as valuable. It doesn't mean that's, every employer is going to answer every need, but it's at least a step in the right direction.
Great, and I'm glad, Tim, we brought you into this because I think it'd be great to have all of our panelists or all of our speakers today on this panel. Unfortunately, Kara had to leave early, so she's not with us at this point. But I do want to remind everyone, as Kendra has put in the chat about AARP and their extensive programs for people in our age groups and ways that we can support or find support in our job search. So between Age Friendly Institute and AARP, you've got two really, really great resources there that can help you in finding the things that you want and need. We've only got a few minutes left. And so what I'd like to do actually is give each of the five of you 1 minute to kind of give a closing thought or response to anything that's left unsaid from today, and then we'll turn it back over to Karen. So Erin DiCarlo, how about you first?
I feel like I spoke too much.
Not at all. But did you have any other thoughts that you wanted to leave us with?
No, I'm just so thankful and grateful to be with all of you and to connect with all of you. A lot of you have messaged me individually. Look forward to continuing the conversation, and we together can all help these employers and each of you thrive. Thanks for being here.
Great. Thank you, Erin. Rachel?
Yeah, I think that I learned a lot today, actually, being part of this panel. And I'm a big fan of all the words that Erin had to say today. So I know that all of you listening to her today hopefully felt empowered too. And I would just say that as far as Home Depot goes, it truly is employment opportunities for whatever you're looking for in life. Whether that is, I want to slow down, I want to be in a store. I just want to be around people. Or it's, I want to continue my career in the corporate workforce. We have all of that available. I will say that it's not just older workers who feel the burn right now in that particular field in the corporate world. It's tough. It is very competitive. It is hard to get into those types of roles. Even when you know somebody, you don't know the right person, it seems at times. But I think that you can be confident that Home Depot is one of those companies that is going to support you, that is going to value your work experience, that is going to compensate your work experience. It's just a matter of upload your resume to our career site, and get the ball rolling and have that interview.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. Gail.
No big comments. Just thank you for the opportunity. Just remember you are your own best advocate. So dig deep and find out where you're at in your current space and go for it. And hopefully you all learned something great today, and feel free to reach out to me directly if you're looking for this sort of opportunity.
Perfect. Thank you, Aaron or Gail. And now Aaron Travasos.
I really appreciated being here as well today, and echo the messages from all the other speakers. I would say one, kind of own your destiny. Finding a job is a lot of work, right? It's very time consuming. It's a lot of work to apply. It takes time to review jobs. Take the time, especially that underemployed comment came up several times. If you're underemployed, spend the time at night or on weekends, use your network, get involved with different organizations that can work on your behalf. You use your resources, right? But definitely there are great organizations. We heard from several on this call today that really value what people bring to the table based on their past experiences. So role play and get your spiel down, and find the right job that values you and that you want to, that makes you happy getting up and going to work in the morning.
Great. Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks again for the opportunity.
And Tim.
Maybe I'll just end with a quick anecdote. We talked to hundreds of employers, as I said, and I heard from the CEO of one very successful financial services firm recently who said, the problem with college graduates coming into employers is they all want to go up and to the right. They all want to get out of those entry-level positions, which are very important, especially in a financial services firm. Whereas someone who's older, if they come in and say, guess what, I'm not looking to, I want to get a fair wage. I want to maintain that six-figure job, but I'm not looking to become the supervisor or I'm not looking to, go up every rung. I want to do really good work and stay in that, front position and be really valuable to you as an employer. And guess what? I'm going to stay. I'm here because I want to be here and I love what I do.
Great. Thank you. That's a great anecdote. Can you share the name of the company, or do you not want to do that?
Without their permission, I would probably not.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Maybe check with Tim later on and see if we can get it so you can go apply there, gang. I would like to just say that we've heard from a lot of great resources. We've heard from a lot of really valuable presenters, some great tips and ideas for us. And I would encourage every one of us to go back and review this recording when you get it. Think about the things that have been said in the way of ideas to help you move forward in your job search and put them into action. Secondly, we're here to help you. No one on this panel would have been here if we didn't want to hear from you and didn't want to help you. So please feel free to reach out to us and get our help. To that end, I'm putting my contact information in the chat one more time. I would encourage anyone who would like to stay connected with each other to put your contact information into the chat while Karen closes us out, and then we'll have the opportunity to save the chat and reach out to each other later on. There's a great 50+ people on this call. Thank you all for participating, and thank you all panelists for the wonderful words of wisdom.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul, for driving today's conversation. I also want to thank our presenters, Kara Cohen and Tim Driver, our panelists, Erin DiCarlo, Rachel Grunwald, Aaron Travasos, and Gail Theme, and our sponsors, AARP, the Age Friendly Institute, Massachusetts Councils on Aging, the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, and MassHire Central Career Center. I want to thank Kendra Mrozek for Zoom production and all of you for attending. When you leave this event, please complete the survey that will automatically pop up when you exit. We appreciate any comments and suggestions you may have.